In this lesson we'll be working in the round and making a circle with rounds of treble stitches. Let's begin by looking at a stitch diagram for working the first 3 rounds of trebles. I like to begin with a ring of chains, and in this tutorial we'll begin with a foundation ring of 6 chains joined with a slip stitch. Treble stitches are the height of 3 chains, so round 1 will begin with 3 chains, and in this lesson the first 3 chains count as a treble stitch. 14 trebles are worked into the middle of the ring of chains. This makes 15 stitches in total. Round 1 is joined with a slip stitch to close the circle. Round 2 begins with 3 chains, which counts as a treble, and a treble increase is worked into every stitch on round 1. This makes 30 stitches in total. Round 3 begins with 3 chains and 1 treble into the same stitch, and a treble increase is worked into every second stitch on round 2. This makes 45 stitches in total. As the circle gets bigger, we'll increase the number of stitches in multiples of 15, because this is the number of stitches that we began with. So let's look at that in practice. We'll begin with a slip knot and chains. I'm working with a foundation ring of 6 chains. And I'll join these to make a ring by working a slip stitch into the first chain. Insert your hook into this first chain, yarn over, draw the yarn through the chain and through the loop on your hook. Work 3 chains, this counts as your first stitch. Round 1 is worked into the middle of the ring of chains, so make sure that you can find this hole. Wrap the yarn over your hook, then insert your hook into the hole. Yarn over again and draw the yarn through the hole. This makes 3 loops on your hook. Yarn over and draw the thread through the first 2 loops on your hook. This leaves 2 loops remaining on your hook. Yarn over again and draw the thread through the 2 remaining loops on your hook, and this completes the first treble stitch. Continue to work 13 more trebles into the ring to make 15 stitches in total, including the first 3 chains. When you finish the round, count back from the working stitch to be sure you can identify all your stitches. The 15th stitch is the 3rd chain where you began this round, and this is where you'll be joining this round with a slip stitch. Insert your hook into this chain, yarn over, draw the thread through the chain and through the loop on your hook. This completes the first round. Begin round 2 with 3 chains and 1 treble into the chain where you joined your first round. Now continue to work a treble increase into every stitch to the end of the round. This means you're working 2 trebles into every stitch. And this will make 30 stitches in total, including your first 3 chains. When you've worked your last treble, it may look like you still have 1 more stitch to work into, but this is your slip stitch on the previous round, so ignore this stitch. Now work a slip stitch into the third chain to complete this round. Round 3 begins with 3 chains and 1 treble into the chain where you joined the previous round. Work 1 treble into the next stitch and work a treble increase into the next stitch. Work a treble into the next stitch and continue to work a treble increase into every second stitch to the end of the round. Remember not to work into the slip stitch on the previous round. Now work a slip stitch into the third chain to complete this round. And there'll be 4 to 5 stitches in total, including the first 3 chains. Round 4 begins with 3 chains and 1 treble into the chain where you joined the previous round. Work 1 treble into each of the next 2 stitches and work a treble increase into the next stitch. Work a treble into each of the next 2 stitches and continue to work a treble increase into every third stitch to the end of the round. This makes 60 stitches in total, including the first 3 chains. Now work a slip stitch into the third chain to complete this round. So this is the formula for crocheting a circle. Begin by increasing on every stitch. The next increase will be every second stitch. The next increase will be every third stitch, and then every fourth stitch, and so on. And occasionally there'll be a round with no increases. The pattern will indicate when to do this, and if you're just experimenting, this is really trial and error until you get it right.